And we're like, no, don't go. And then we just heard... I sort of looked down and my trousers are all shredded. There's blood coming from both my legs. I've got a bit of metal in my shin bone, blood down my arm, my neck, my face. I've got no rifle. My sharpshooter's gone. He's strapped in, lying down, looking up. And the roof was just blood. It was all blood. But the bad news is, one of your testicles is going to have to come off. And I'm like, oh dear. And I'd caught an Afghan flesh-eating disease. It was rotting my body from the inside out. And I had a hole. You could see my tailbone. And they were like, if that goes to your lungs, he's going to put a hole in your lung. You are going to die. The first time that I got picked on, actually, was because of my stutter. And it was really bad when I was younger. I couldn't say my own name. I was petrified to put a foot wrong. I want to learn the Victoria Cross winners. I want to go for a run. And I want to go and join up at the earliest age. And that's it. Genuinely wanted to be there a lot. And I felt like I was where I was meant to be.
Today, on the debrief, I have a former Royal Marine. Mumbles is his nickname. Dave is his real name. He's an all-round good egg, a bon oaf as we call him. Dave, welcome to the show, mate. You all right?
How's it going, Phil? You all right?
Yeah, good.
Nice to see you again.
It's good to see you, mate. Listen, the way this is going to work today, I'm going to take you back to your childhood, and then we're going to bounce all the way through and find out what you're doing now, all right?
Just like therapy.
It's therapy. It's a debrief.
Yeah, it'd be good, mate.
You know what I mean? Right, listen, let's take you back. Let's take little Dave. How was little Dave?
Little Dave, that's what my missus calls me.
I don't want to know why. Right?
So, from Timperley in Cheshire, sort of grew up there. My mum and dad were split up, separate houses. I never knew them being together, but it was always amicable. I'd do half-time.
So they was quite happy to come round?
Oh, good, yeah.
That sort of stuff?
Yeah. And from a young age, didn't really do the whole... fitness or sport or anything like that. And my dad, when I was about 7, was like, let's get you doing something. So it took me to a football club because all of my friends from school played.
Okay, yeah.
And then the football coach sort of said to him, you know, I wouldn't bring him back type sketch. He's got 2 left feet.
2 left feet. So at least he was honest.
So that was the end of my football career.
Gonna play for England.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. And from there, he took me playing rugby, and then that's what I've done my whole life since. That just made sense.
Okay, so you just made up for what you couldn't kick.
Bit more contact, lads. You know, all of that good stuff, teamwork and everything.
Did you go through the sort of like youth system with all these teams? Did you all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I played for the same team from under 8 up until last year, pretty much before my ankle surgery.
Okay, so that's
every age. Me and my dad actually hold a club record as the only father-son combo to get sent off together during the same game. So
you're not supposed to be proud of that.
Well, he's ex-army too, so I think a little bit of that. His old Boxing Day sort of came out.
Yeah.
I was sticking up for him, you know. Obviously,
it's there, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's blood's thicker than water on the field, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I was on leave from basic training, and someone was picking my dad's leg up and hitting him, and I was like, really? I'm going to show him what I'm going to show him what I've learned. Ran over from the wing, and I've hit this guy, and he just, like a fly, had landed on his face and just battered me. Like it had no effect, nothing at all. And he came up to me afterwards and said, like, what was that about? I said, well, you were picking on my old man, and he's like, your dad, right? That's it. And then it was all beers and everything like that. So it was good crack.
Oh, mega! Right. So, did you do anything like cadets or anything like that?
I did.
You did Army cadets.
I was in the Marine cadets.
Okay.
Only because that was the nearest thing to us. But
yeah, with that sort of thing, you don't really sort of like know. You just go to what's the nearest.
You just go to the nearest one. Yeah. Me and my 2 friends from school, around the age of about 13. Yeah. We went down that route and. Being honest, we all wanted to join the Marines. Yeah. And all did.
Where did this Marine thing come from then? Why did you want to join At 13, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why did you, at 13, know that you wanted to be a Marine?
My dad was Army.
Okay.
Served in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
My granddad on his side was Army, served in Egypt. And my other granddad was in the Navy, but there was never any family pressure. Like, being honest, we didn't even really speak about it. It was just, I'd always had it in the back of my mind a bit. Yeah. There's a story that I've told before, but for the sake of it, in primary school, I don't know whether you had to ever do it. You had to draw a little picture of what you wanted to be when you grew up, and it all got stamped on this tea towel. And the whole year got one to take home. And little Rosie's there, like picking flowers, and Johnny's playing football.
Fire truck.
There's me in full camouflage with an automatic rifle, pumping rounds down, and either a red flag to join the military, or he's going to be a serial killer in a few years. So good, it went down the right way. Yeah. So it was always there.
Yeah.
Don't really know how. Films, seeing TV shows. Me and my friends, everyone had like.
Did you play a lot of that sort of stuff? 'Cause that's
a bit, yeah.
all that
Metal Gear Solid, a little bit of that, but not so much that was the reason.
Yeah.
My friends were speaking about it a lot, and we sort of came together. Like friends would catch up and watch a film at someone's house.
Yeah.
Well, we were watching Platoon and, all of those films, the old like Vietnam films, the old army films. We were stuck right into it. We were really keen, a bit sort of pesty and proper looking into it all and watching the shows. And we were just
analysing the kit and whatever.
We were like proper, mate. Like, you know the scratch.
Spotter.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, proper kit pest. Loving it all. Joined the cadets, which was great. For as you'll know, the sort of discipline.
Yeah.
I actually took it for granted. Like, sort of back then, when I joined the Marines, I was like, well, this didn't help me much, because it was still so hard. The training was still so hard. But I knew how to get shouted at by people. I knew how to salute. I knew how to march. I knew how to polish my boots.
Yeah. And presumably you were fairly fit as well, so.
Quite fit, yeah. But compared to some of them, I still wasn't. I wasn't near the top, no. But it had helped a lot more than I realised. In the first 2 weeks of training, when everyone's polishing boots and everyone's struggling, people were dropping me £2 to polish their boots too, because I was all over it. I felt like a millionaire, But yeah, it definitely helped, and it was a good insight and everything.
So, did you get any qualifications at school? Were you a clever kid, fit kid?
I think it became obvious early doors I wasn't going to be a brain surgeon or an astronaut.
A bit like me, you cycle efficiency, took it twice.
I actually think I failed that first time. Genuinely, I was a cycling biff at school as well.
It's a slow bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wobbling about like that.
I'd have been the side cart, just holding on for dear life. I think it wasn't so bad that my GCSEs could spell fudge, but I think there was like 1B. If I'd have done the coursework in like PE, I'd have got good marks, but I knew that I'd passed because my practical was good, so I was like, leave it.
Yeah, happy days.
Same with a few of them, but I knew in school, this wasn't for me. This sitting here in the classroom is not me. I am not interested.
It bore no relevance on the stuff you enjoyed, which was rugby and cadets.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the Tudors. I'm not interested in the Pythagoras' theory. I'm not bothered. I just want to learn.
Take your algebra.
I want to learn the Victoria Cross winners. I want to go for a run, and I want to go and join up at the early stage, and that's it.
Yeah, cool. So that's essentially what you did then. What age did you go and join the Corps?
I went to the careers office at the earliest age you could back then, which was 15 and 10 months.
Oh, wow, okay. I didn't realise you could join the Marines.
Well, you can, but they slow the process down.
Okay.
I think you have to finish school, but you can obviously register your interest and all of that sort of thing and everything like that. And back then, the application phase was a little bit different. There was more to do. There was like an acquaint day in Liverpool and a test in a gym, and then there was, a few different parts to it. But I ended up in when I was 16. And I was one of the youngest in our troop. There was a few more.
Lympstone at 16, did you?
Yeah.
And you do the sort of like man's course as it was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, which, like...
That's nails.
Being honest, I was, like, really keen for it. And, like I was saying then, everyone was like, oh, did you miss home? Did you not? I was like, I couldn't get on the train quick enough. I was really, I was looking for... Obviously, that wore off after a few weeks, I was ready. But, like, I really, really, like, genuinely wanted to be there a lot. Yeah. And I felt like I was where I was meant to be. It sounds a bit cheesy, but I did want to be there. So I was happy. I was like a bit of not a fangirl, but I was like, wow, this is where I've been thinking for 3 years.
You get down to the bottom field for the first time and you're like...
And you see the MLs walking around camp and you see them and you're like, oh, wow, it's it's obviously hard. It's horrendous, but... it is horrendous, but it's good.
Honking.
Yeah, it's good at the same time because all I was hearing from friends back home was, oh, yeah, I'm going on a family holiday with my mum and dad next week, or I've got school and I've got this, and I was like, I'm firing grenade launchers.
You're
and
I'm Woodbury Common.
Yeah, true. Actually, it wasn't that good. Yeah, but it was, I enjoyed it at that age still. Yeah, I did.
So you went through, you passed out.
I passed first time, original. I think there was 63 that started and around like 11, 12 of us that finished. And I'd have said, if you'd have asked anyone throughout training, would I have been one of them people? They'd have probably said no, being honest. Like, I wasn't at the top.
Just gonna quickly, I'm not gonna linger on this. Your nickname's Mumbles, right?
Yeah.
And you have got a bit of that, and you're going on. But did that have any bearing on the way that you were treated, or did it make you nervous about stuff or anything when you were training, or did that sort of like sort that?
Yeah, 100%. So I've had a stammer since I was like 9 years old. I got asked to. I was actually really clever at school, in primary school anyway, when it was easy. I was asked.
Name
Dave. Good at colouring in. I was asked to read something in front of the whole school. Yeah. From one of the books, and I stood up and stuttered and stammered. It never happened, and I couldn't control it, and everyone laughing at you, and you're like, ah. And then it got worse and worse, and it becomes looking back then, what we know about mental health now, it would have been anxiety. Like the register in school, to me, and I've spoken to other people who like stammer, that is your worst nightmare. You're sat there going, Bob, Campion, Charlie, and I'm like, oh shit, it's me. Oh no, I'm going to stutter. I'm going to stutter. And that's 5 times per day, 5 days a week. That's 25. It's 100 times a month. You're sat like that panicking about the register, or whatever the maths is. I wasn't good at maths. And then it's, are you going to get pinged to read something out? Are you going to get pinged for this?
Yeah, so
and you are
the whole thing
constantly worried. And,
God,
and I think
I never looked at it like that at all, but that's insane.
I think that's why I took
cause issues.
a lot of anxiety in training. I was petrified to put a foot wrong and to say, because you're scared to speak. Imagine being scared to speak. You speak a lot, and I like to talk, and especially I've one of them. And it's hard because you're constantly thinking, am I going to say something wrong? And in training, it got picked up straight away, and the corporals called me Tourette's boy, and I tried to tell them that it wasn't Tourette's, and they were like, don't talk when you're talking to me. I was like, wait, how do I do that? But they used to do a bit of character building stuff, and looking back now, they'd say that's bullying. But genuinely, all of that I got made to do in training when I was in is the thing that sorted it out for me. I got sent to speech therapy when I was a kid, and it just did nothing. A woman sat there going, all right, try and calm down, try and say words. I was like, no. But a corporal saying, right, stand up in front of 60 blokes and read till I'm done laughing. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, but it's
I think when the lads didn't laugh, and it gave you a bit of confidence of, maybe not everyone's taking the mick out of me, and it helped my confidence a lot. As I was coming back from training and coming back from passing, my confidence grew and my anxiety wore off. I didn't care what people said about my stutter. I was like, I've got bigger fish to fry.
You got targets to hit. You got ropes to climb.
I'm just trying not to get back troops.
I'm standing. You got back troops, mate.
It did. All right. It did have some profs. It had some profs. My corporal in training was a really sound bloke, and I was bad with it, and it gets to phase 2, and obviously everyone's got to start taking radios out, haven't they? Only like the little PRRs, and I go to sign one out, and he's like, "Mate, you don't need to take one of them. There's no point, just take something else because you're just going to clog the net up, and no one's going to hear." So I was like,
"Your radio check's going to take 15 minutes."
It literally did, but there was no point during the interview or anything where it was bad, but it never got pulled up, and it was really bad when I was younger. I couldn't say my own name.
Really?
It was bad in school. It was bad. I was scared to do it. The first time that I got picked on, actually, was because of my stutter. When I was younger, I was like 10. And this was a kid in secondary school picked on me. And my dad, former army boxing lad, what any army boxing dad does is go, right, we'll buy you a punch bag, we'll get it sorted out type thing. Yeah. Which didn't work his boxing lessons, because I think I've got more broken knuckles than I have working ones. But the first kid that sort of picked on me for it, I ended up hitting him, and then after that, it never really happened again. No one picked on me type thing.
I think, if you emanate that sort of gesture at school.
Well, we're condoning that,
No, I'm not. No, I don't. But I have seen it work in several instances when a kid's been bullied, who suddenly, lay one back and, hang on a minute, we'll leave him alone for the rest of his life. Do you know what I mean? So
that's it.
Yeah,
I
not
do
that you
think
condone it, but it's happened to me. It's happened to you. Do you know what I mean? So
in training, I was picked up for it a lot, and that gave me a thicker skin. I wasn't bothered. I actually found it funny by the end, and the lads would take the mick out of it so much, but I was beating people to the joke. I was taking the mick out of it before anyone else could. I mean, now it's all but gone. Well, I speak a lot slower and I practice a lot now, and it has pretty much gone. But then it was bad.
I mean, part of the spirit of being a commando is the humour element.
Cheerfulness in the face of adversity.
And, you know, the adversity in this case is your speech impediment, and the cheerfulness is the fact that you can laugh about it. So,
exactly.
You know, that's the approach that has been taken down at Lympstone.
My very first day at 4-5 Commando, I get to the train station and I met one of my now best friends there, who was the same troop, the same company, everything on our first day, and he was a 6'3" Asian lad. His mum's from Malaysia and his dad's from Essex, so he's a 6'3" Asian but Essex talking geezer, right? So
who are, mate?
he marches up first, and they go, right, noodles, clear off, right? So that was him called that, and that's what I call him now to this day. And I've marched up, and I've gone to say, Sergeant, my name is, and and there's 40 blokes there in a troop, just back from Afghan, some of them together, and they're all laughing, and I'm like, oh. My sergeant's like, what was that? Like, what have I been sent here? And I'm like, and he's like, right, Mumbles, clear off.
Mumbles, clear off.
And that was my nickname.
And Mumbles is stuck.
Some of my best mates didn't know my name. It was just Mumbles. Like, that's what I've known as my whole career. So
yeah, I mean, you get a nickname like that in front of everybody, that is not all the personal in the world. Don't get rid of that, mate.
That's it. It's game over. Yeah.
So you joined the army. You joined the Marines. Sorry, in a time when you're guaranteed you're going to war. Yeah, more or less, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? So, hats off to you just for that in the first place. You know what I mean? But so, what was your first tour? Where did you find yourself going with 4-5?
Yeah, so I put in for 4-5 Commando straight from training. You do get a bit of preference. Everyone from our troop wanted to go to 4-2, bar like 3 of us, because they were all like southern lads. But like being northern, and my corporal was from 4-5 Commando. I just thought, I want to go there. Yeah. And straight away we got sent to Canada for 3 months doing training, sort of beating up and everything. But they were asking for volunteers to go down to 40 Commando to be BCR's battle casualty replacements for Herrick 12. Okay. And I was like, I'm new. Yeah, sweet. Hand up and get me down there. So I did a 2-week op tag package down in Portsmouth. Yeah. And this corporal was in charge of us, called Mac, and his only rule was we are going to go ashore every night while we're here, type thing. So it was a good couple of weeks, but some really good training too. Yeah. I finished that and I was ready to be sent. I was sort of waiting as a BCR, and then they found out I was 17 still, and they were like, "You're not old enough." I thought I'd sort of got away with it, so I was like, "I'm off."
Stum.
And they were like, "No, like back to 4-5 Commando." So I got sent back, and we had Herrick 14 coming up in February 2011. So I got trained up with Yankee Company to go to that one. Okay. So obviously standard stuff like your team medic training. Yeah. I got a sharpshooter course and long range rifle course, not a sniper course, nothing like that, but that's like a little quick 2-week course on how to use these weapons. And we deployed there February 2011, and we did the sort of 2-week like acclimatization on Camp Bastion, and then we were sent out onto the front, Nadi Ali, Green Zone at March time, straight out. Okay, so punchy tour? It wasn't, to be fair. Okay. Not compared to the other tours that have been going on back then. Like the American AO area of operations was next to ours, and we could see them scrapping every day. We could hear it. Really? Apaches going off left, right, and Charlie. I have video, and all of that. But that was there. It was on the other line. You're like that. Yeah, watching. Yeah. A few things happened. There was a few vehicle-borne IEDs which took out, injured a few of our lads, and then everything got stopped, like water drops and post drops and patrols down that area. But for me personally, on the first company op that we'd ever done, we'd been there a week, less than a week. We'd done a couple of little clearance patrols around the base when we handed over from the Royal Irish, because they gave us the whole, we were getting shot at here every single day. There's bullet holes here and bullet holes there, and we're like, oh my God, this is going to be full on. And then not a lot happened, so we're like, all right. But our first company op was basically all of 4-5 Commando are going to go out as a show of force, vehicles, this, that, everything. Everyone's going out, and this is to show who we are and what we've got, like, with us, basically.
Yeah.
And we've been out, I think we've been out for 8 hours. It was a really big, long in that heat when you're not used to it, I suppose. The hottest day we had was 53 degrees. It's warm, isn't it? It is warm.
Harry Redpig.
Yeah, roost fish. And we'd gone firm next to this compound wall. And essentially we'd sort of taken a knee and we're sort of, waiting for the next instructions and all that. And our point man said, someone's popped out of the compound. I'm going to go in after them. And obviously we got taught that could be a come on. So someone coming out and then looking like something's happened. Yeah. So we chase in, they lay a little tripwire and then boom.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, don't go. And then we just heard one big bump. And I was like disorientated, didn't know what had happened. And I thought he'd obviously like set something off.
Yeah.
And I sort of looked down and my trousers are all shredded. There's blood coming from both my legs. I've got a bit of metal in my shin bone. I've got blood down my arm, my neck, my face. I've got no rifle. My sharpshooter's gone. I'm like, where's that? That's your main concern, isn't it? Like, I hope no one's seen that I've dropped it. Like that's the main. Yeah.
I've lost my first time out. I've lost my gun.
It wasn't me.
Oh, dear.
So I'm realising it's actually me. It wasn't an IED. They'd thrown a grenade over the wall next to it. Had rolled by my feet, and obviously they've got a kill range of like 5 to 10 meters.
Yeah.
This was like 2 meters away, but we were on a hard track, really hard gravel track.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it. I didn't know anything, but I was told it had rolled next to my feet, and then next to the hard track, it sloped down into soft mud, and it had landed there, and the soft mud had taken most of the bang.
The kill out of it.
The medic said if it had stayed on the hard track, that would have been most of us done, but
you'd have all got
really bad.
Gone everywhere. Yeah.
We just got a bit of superficial. There was no limb loss, nothing life changing really. But I'm sort of fragged up. I'm sort of pumped up now. Like, oh my god, what's happening? I'm trying to keep calm. Sort of calm myself down. And one of the lads runs over, do not panic. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't panicking until you came over, and I'm feeling,
maybe a lot worse.
Yeah. FFD's on, which you sort of field dressing, and they're going on tight, and that's everything like that. They're sort of cleaning up the blood. I've got a bit of frag protruding from my shin bone. I need to get out of there, basically. It was just a grenade, no rounds being fired, but we're obviously covering arcs because that's when you're most vulnerable, aren't you? When someone's injured type thing. So we're told we need to get out of there pretty quick. So our Valor men start making safe lanes where we can move to sort of get out of there so we don't stand on anything on the way back. 'Cause that's something that they do. They try and hit you there to force you into it.
Funnel you, all that sort of stuff.
All the good stuff. And we get to this wadi, and me and you know that an Afghan wadi is a dirty stream where they use
it's just
as the toilet.
There's not beating about
not something you're going to get the bottle in and start drinking out of it.
Stereotype would be all right. This one.
I'm limping and I've got my ECM on. I've got my rifle. And
you got it back?
Yeah. It wasn't too far.
You didn't leave it then.
Thank God. And the medic said, like, you need to clear this. If your open wound goes in that, you're
in the world of it.
Your leg's going off. Yeah. At minimum, So run and jump over and don't land on your bad leg. And classic bloke, big red button, do not push. I've ran over and I've landed all of my weight on my bad leg. And I felt it go in my shin bone. I felt it. It was like a white hot needle into your shin bone. And it's not a massive, it's not a wound like I've lost, but the pain, it's like a dead leg, but a dead bone, but with a needle. That's the only way I can sort of say it. Yeah. So I've sort of gone down. I'm trying to get up. I'm trying to limp out. We've got back to the nearest track, the MSR, and we're waiting for the Sergeant Major to come. And the Sergeant Major came on his quad bike with his black shades. Everyone called it the God Quad, And he had his big metal bin, and he's like, throw him in, type scare. So I've got thrown in this quad bike. He's he's driving.
Call it a jack wagon. I mean, that would have been, you wouldn't have got in it, would you?
yeah.
I'm not getting in it.
I'm not doing it. I'd have limped back. Yeah. So I'm sat there like that, taking arcs to the rear, and he's driving forward, and we've sort of drove back to our PB patrol base, and sort of waiting to get picked up, and the medics sort of cut my trousers off and everything like that, cut my boots off that are sort of so new. I've only just broke them in, really, you know, and I'm like, no, don't come off. Yeah. I've kept a little bit of the trouser. It's got the hole in it and everything like that. But we were back there. I thought, I'm going to get picked up soon. And the helos kept getting delayed. And I was like, what's going on here? I want to get out. But when you don't stop to think, like, they're being delayed because there's something a lot worse going on than you.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, you don't think that.
No.
You're like, what's going on? But if there was nothing going on, they'd be there.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, someone else is a lot worse off for you.
Yeah.
So I've started sobering up a bit from it, and I'm like, I'm actually sort of in a lot of pain now, like this hurts. So the sergeant major's gone, do you want some morphine? And everyone's got 2 pens. These like life-saving things that are absolutely bomb-proof, don't break. Like nothing like that. And I've gone, all right, sweet. So he takes it out, goes like that, and it just fell to pieces and crumbled in his hand. I was like, all right, next one. And then that one worked. But I said, I'm not going to play up to it. I'm going to sit there, deadpan, sort of straight face. I'm not going to play up to it. And then I don't remember anything, but apparently I was chatting up my sergeant major, telling him that he looked handsome, and that I got put onto the back of a Black Hawk, and you sort of strapped in. Yeah. Americans came to pick us up, and he strapped in, lying down, looking up. And the roof was just blood. It was all blood. So the last person's probably really caught it up. And that's when you think, like, I've just been lying here moaning that it hasn't come in, hours, and there's a lot worse going on. It soon makes you sort of, grow up, doesn't it, I suppose? And think.
A baptism of fire, literally, isn't it? It's...
And this American saying, I need to put a line in. And I'm like, all right. And the helo's taking off. And like my arm's like that. And I feel like that, and he's popped my vein, there's blood all over my face, and he's like, put pressure on it, and I'm like, everyone's trying to wind me up today, what's going on? But that must be a hard job, on a helicopter. And I'm flying back, and the door's open, the sort of side door, and as it, turns like that, doesn't it, you're looking down, it's just fields and more, and you're like, oh, this is mental.
They're flying it tactically.
They really do. Circles.
I've done a few flights like that over there. It's insane, isn't it?
Sketchy, isn't it?
Proper. You're like, wow.
You think, I hope these straps are on good, Hold on.
Yeah. So was that tour over for you? Did that finish your tour? Did you?
No, I got back to the hospital, and American hospital too, and this was still out in Afghan, and they've basically come in and, American doctors, I got some good news, I got some bad news. I'm like, oh dear. And they're like, the good news is everything's fine, you can walk, your legs are fine and all of that, but the bad news is one of your testicles is going to have to come off. And I'm like, oh dear. I'm 18, I'm about to become a cyclops.
I'm
thinking this isn't going to...
One of your back wheels is going to be chopped off.
And I'm sort of patting, going, no, this feels fine. And he showed me the scan, and you could see frag over the testicle, if you really zoomed in.
Wasn't that big?
I couldn't look cool that day, mate. I
Smallest grenade in the world, was it?
Wasn't looking good in budgie smugglers that day. No. So I've gone, I can't feel anything. Genuinely, I think that I'm fine, and not wanting to take my word for it, he got the 10 best looking nurses all in to come and have a feel, and I'm just like absolutely dying at this point. Like, no, please just leave me alone. Stop poking, stop prodding. And they basically said, were you scanned with your under blast pants on? You get these like sort of undershorts that have got a little thin layer in them.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And I'd never worn them until that day because they're so hot, they're so sweaty. I just worn these really thin, cool ones. Yeah. And one of my mates that morning, as true as I sit here, Sam said, "He's sort of taking the piss, not wearing them. You should wear them." And I was like, "I'll do it for you," as a joke.
Yeah.
And the one day they saved my ball. Yeah.
Wow. So
the frag was inside that, so it was coming off. according to that doctor. Until
he had the cleaver.
Yeah, he was ready to
all the nurses to go.
Control, Alt, Delete. Get it off. So that was fine. And I spent a month back at Bastion. I had 5 operations total, all like stitched up my legs and everything, my arm and neck. I was on a morphine drip for what felt like a week or 2. I don't know. I lost time then, so that was gone. I had to ring home. I didn't want to tell my parents because I was offered to stay out there, or I was offered to go home and get a full bonus, a medal, and everything like that. And I said, no, I've only just got here, like my passport stamp's still wet, I still want to be here. So I stayed, but I had to tell home, which was a bit crap. My mum wasn't too happy with it, as you can imagine. My dad was like, what, son? What, son? That's it,
you dare come home. You dare come home, I'm telling you, son.
I've just turned your bedroom to a gym, you're not coming back. Yeah, no chance.
I'm riding your bike.
So, a little bit of that going on, and stayed out, had the surgery done, did some rehab back at camp, and I managed to get out a month later back out there. And my dad had sort of gone down the local rugby club and got some like morale boxes sent out to me from friends. One of them was a Marine, Mitch, who actually teaches with us now, and he sent me out a packet of sand and said, "Here, mate, I thought you want some sand." I was like, right, nice one. Sound. Another one, my dad's mate who served in the Falklands, he said, your dad said that you wanted food sent out. And after one of his like rugby matches, the little tray of like like shepherd's pie you get, 3 fingers in, scraped it over the bluey and folded it up and sent it and said,
really?
Here's some food. I'm like,
can you imagine if the ball had come off? You'd have just got belt-fed cream eggs.
Yeah.
Would have been belt-fed cream eggs.
Mum, send me some nice stuff,
Send me some eggs.
Yeah. So I got back out there, did 3 more months solid, 3.5 more months, and then sent home for R&R for your 2 weeks. Do not leave the UK. You could be called back early, thing. So straight to Manchester Airport on a lad's holiday to Faliraki, and then back and then back over, type thing. So when I got back, my wounds have all healed thereabouts, but not quite. They're still a bit open. They're still a bit not great, and it's hard to keep clean out there properly.
Yeah, especially if
Marines are obsessed with the cleaning. But
you are. I'm going to tell you that. All right.
We had 10 bottles of water per day, so 10 litres.
Yeah.
And that was to drink, wash your clothes with, brush your teeth with, do everything with. Now, you're supposed to be drinking 7 per day in that heat. So then you're down to... So you aren't washing your clothes, you aren't washing properly.
Most Marines I know take 10 litres just to brush their
teeth. Hollywood shower, ABBA playing. So they were getting dirty. And one of them flared up bad. And then I started getting these lumps on me, these weird lumps. And I got moved to this other PB after leave because they'd backfilled me, and then someone else needed to be backfilled elsewhere. So I went there, and I'm on Sangha at night, and I'm in so much pain. And this Sangha wasn't one you could stand up on. You had to be sat crouched down. I couldn't. The pain in my tailbone. I was like, what is that? And I couldn't, and I was sat, and I couldn't sleep at night. I was crying, I was in pain. It was that bad. It's the worst pain I've ever felt. And I was like, what is it? And I'm touching it, and I'm like, oh, that feels gammy. I'm like, what is it? But you don't have mirrors there. So I'm like, I don't know what it is. And I've gone and spoke to my sergeant there, and I said, I have got something not right here. And I showed him. He went, I know people like you. You want to get out of here? And I said, no, absolutely not the case. I said, just what is it? He's like, yeah, it's fine. So I showed the medic, Kate Nesbitt, if you've heard of her, she won the military cross. Okay. Real legend. Little 5-foot Navy girl, just absolute legend.
Oh, I've heard of the girl. I've heard of the girl.
Nicest girl ever. Brilliant medic with us. And she went, you are getting out of here right now. That is horrendous. And I had a hole. You could see my tailbone. It rotted a hole the whole way down. And I'd caught an Afghan flesh-eating disease. And it had the same symptoms, basically, as AIDS.
You ever done the lottery, have you?
Yeah. I don't win, mate. So it was rotting my body from the inside out.
Yeah.
So these holes weren't forming on the top of my skin. It was forming
coming from inside.
Coming out. And I've got scars from them, these big holes that were something coming up. It stunk. It was just rot. It was just rotting me from like the inside out. And they were like, this is a 1 in a however many million people get it, and it's all old people. And I'm 18
years old,
full of this minging disease,
Afghan
rotting,
disease.
stinking. And I'm like, what is this? And it was horrendous pain. And I was having to go to sick bay every day and have it packed, because if you stitch it at the top, it leaves an air pocket. You have to pack it every day so it helped, so it healed like that.
Yeah, it comes. Ooh.
But I started getting lumps on my chest, and they were like, if that goes to your lungs, he's going to put a hole in your lung. You are going to die. Type sketch. So this is the worst one. This is the worst bit out of it all, to be fair. So I was having these holes come up and flare up, and they were like, we need to send you home. And I went to this like tropical testing place, and I was quarantined. So I was doing quarantine and isolation well before COVID. That's old news, I'm
a filthy animal.
Yeah. Straight after Thailand, yeah. So all of this, and I've had to use this wash on me. I had to burn my clothes, throw it all away, and they didn't know what it was, and because it was so unheard of back in England and everything like that, and I was downgraded with that for like a year until it finally went, and I was having these like washes and all of this, and I kept getting these lumps in my nose, in my throat, and all of this. It was horrendous pain, mate.
And all the time you're thinking, if one of these goes in here,
that's it,
or anywhere near me ticker,
yeah, you're proper game over, like
brown bread.
Yeah. So
you must have been in bobbins for a complete year. You must have been in clip.
It was just like I could still do everything, but they weren't growing back like that, like the holes. But I was just getting all these lumps and things, and it was just it was still minging. They couldn't get it to go away. Every time that it attacks your white blood cells, I was told. So I was like never ill, ever. Like just always fine. I could go in, honking swamps, pools, and I'd be like, yeah, sweet. Yeah. And then after that, I'd get ill so easily.
Even Woodbury Common.
Yeah. No, that would.
Rolling around in Woodbury.
But after that, I was getting ill noticeably, and I don't get ill, but I felt ill, and I just felt shit, and I was like, this is horrendous. They like finally got rid of it and like cleared it and all of that. I'll show you them later. I don't want to show them on here.
No, keep that.
You keep that in there. Lens, like. So yeah, that was that. And after about a year of being back to normal type thing, and work had slowed down, and everything back in England, it wasn't until everything slowed down, because I'd been really busy, still like doing things, and when it all slowed down and everything like that, that's when my mind, my like mental health turned really, really, really bad. I had a bit of a sort of breakdown and was suicidal, and anxiety, depression, PTSD. I was diagnosed with. I was put on suicide watch by camp. I couldn't handle weapons for a bit. I was put on antidepressants for years, which I'm now off, done clean. About a year ago, but yeah, I was having a really bad time with that. I didn't want to go to therapy back then, because I was like,
It's one of those things, isn't it? You need to talk about it, but you don't want to talk about it because you fear that your status within wherever you are is going to be affected by what you're going to tell them. So, do you know what I mean? And that's the thing that's driving you anyway. So it's a horrible situation, isn't it?
I genuinely believe back then, because this is when, I'm talking 11 years ago now.
Yeah.
And this is back when I thought depression was someone that stayed at home and cried every night, watching Corrie. And I was like, I'm out every night. I'm laughing, I'm joking, I'm partying. I said, that's not me. I'm out partying, I'm having fun. And I said, that isn't me. I sort of like denied it. I was like, that's not me. And I also genuinely believed, because my company 2IC found me and took me to like sick bay and said, you are going there, and that's it. End of story. But I genuinely believed when I got took to the doctor, this was the very first time he'd ever had this happen, ever. I genuinely believed I was the only person on that camp like this. And I was like, there's blokes here. I have not done one of the big tours. Our tour, our commanding officer told us I would take success as no bullets being fired. I'm going there for a different reason. I want to build a better Afghan. That was our aim, right? So there's people here who've been on horrendous tours. I don't deserve to feel like this at all. Like, I'm an imposter. Like, I can't stand toe to toe with them in the bar. It doesn't. So I can't tell anyone this, because then they'll be like, well, you haven't done a real. And I felt this fear.
Yeah, of course you did. Yeah.
To tell anyone. So I kept it to myself. I tried the antidepressants, but what I didn't know, they make you ill for 2 weeks. You feel horrendous for 2 weeks, but you have to get past that, and then it wears off, and you just feel numb, everything. But I didn't get past that 2 weeks. I was like, nah, I'm off that. So I was just going out, and basically I had bad problems then with my anger. I'd say I was
medicating with alcohol,
flash to bang in 2
angry.
seconds.
Yeah.
Go out drinking and just kicking off.
Yeah.
Going the wrong way, I think.
Did you get in much trouble?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. A few nights in police vans and police chases through Arbroath and things.
As you know, it's the same. I've done the same. So
one story that I don't mind saying. I was in Arbroath. No, I was in Dundee on a night out, and I don't know what it was. The wind changed, and I was really pissed off. So I've hit this kebab shop window, smashed it. My knuckles broke, bleeding.
Yeah.
And I'm that drunk. I've gone in and ordered from them. I'm like, oh yeah, can I have a doner with garlic, a bit of chilli on it, some onions? They're just ringing the police. And my mate's like, mate, we have to get out. I'm like, I've just paid for a kebab. I'm not going anywhere, and I just no idea what I was doing. In the back of a police van, hitting my head on the door, trying to get out, head's bleeding. So my friend's gone in and paid for the window, asked them if he can take me back to camp. I've got taken back. Been woken up the next day with a big headache, really big headache, bigger than normal.
All of it.
Hand ruined, and my mate going, you owe me 300 quid. And I was like, well, I was doing that a lot, really. Just stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what to do myself. I was just going out drinking.
No,
and
it does. Alcohol, you can't treat anything with alcohol. I've learned that, and the hard way as well. So what did you do? Did you eventually went sick? You sought help with it?
In the Marines, no. I sort of kept pushing it away and kept. I was doing the wrong thing and going out and doing whatever for a long time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I'd say I naturally grew up anyway. It was getting to I was mid-20s at this point, and I wasn't trying to impress people or what. And I just sort of was like, I don't need to do this anymore, And I sort of slowed down, calmed down. I was playing rugby and I was just happy doing that and sort of chilling out and not going down that route. And I volunteered to be a trim practitioner, so like a mental health practitioner on camp. And we were on this migrant rescue detail, and they needed people to be this to basically go. And I thought, well, I've been through that. Haven't told anyone, but I'll volunteer for that, and then I can learn a bit more about it. And I can then, if anyone does come to me, I can say, well, I know about that. They were pinging blokes to do it. And I was like, he is the last person who is the right person to do that job. He'd be like, well, I don't know what this is, and I thought I could actually help here. So I volunteered for that, and that helped my understanding a lot more of it. And then I became self-aware of triggers, things that would set me off, and things that I could do to help myself.
So self-help.
And then I started talking about it and telling friends. I told one friend when I was drunk, and it wasn't even a really close friend. I've done this quite a lot. I hadn't told anyone close to me, and I was just telling random mates on nights out, and I don't know why. Maybe I just felt like there was no judgment.
Yeah.
And it'd pour out of me. And the next day, I didn't regret it. I felt like, I'm so glad that I've
spoken about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more that I did it, the easier that it got. I was doing it for a while, and then I ended up leaving. I wanted to move to Australia. I really wanted.
So you left the Corps?
Yeah.
How did you leave? Did you pay your way out? Or
no, I just
time served.
Yeah, I'd done just shy of 8 years by this point.
Okay.
And
you signed off.
Yeah, I'd actually been told I couldn't get to corporal without doing speech therapy because I wouldn't be able to give orders on a junior command course. I needed to go to speech therapy, and I didn't want to do it. I did try, but being honest, I'd been put in a job that I didn't want to do, and my motivation went. It dropped massively, and I didn't want to promote, being honest. I was happy being a Lance Jack.
Mate, I was as a trooper, mate.
Yeah.
You know what
I got to, I was like, I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm here at this point. I'm not going to promote. I've sort of lost my way with it a bit, my way with myself a bit. And I was like, I want to leave. I want to move to Australia. I want to go by myself, and I want to start again and just start afresh completely.
Okay, so you slung your ticket in?
Yeah. A year's notice, and then you've got a year to be given all the worst jobs that there are. I was pretty fortunate, though. My sergeant major, I knew from the core rugby team.
Yeah.
And he really looked after me. He got me on some decent things. The migrant crisis was, I think, for me, the most rewarding trip that I ever did. And I think we all said that. We were sort of going out on ship from Italy and doing like 2 weeks sailing around. If any emergencies came in, we would go out, and it'd be like a little fishing boat with 400 people on it, babies, women, children. Wow. You can see the ribs because they haven't eaten, they haven't drank.
It is awful.
They've turned to seawater. The smell from miles away. Because what the facilitators do is they sell this ticket. You're going to go to England, you're going to get the NHS, you're going to get all of it. How much money do you have? 20 grand. Yeah, it's 20 grand. You know, however much they've got. They've sold the house, they've sold everything.
Yeah.
About 50% were like real migrants and 50% were economic. And you could spot it. There was families there that were absolutely desperate, and it changed my perspective on it a lot. Because they needed to be there.
You know what? And I get that a lot with this sort of stuff because I went and visited loads in France and obviously did the route myself and all that sort of stuff. So that I could talk about it. When you see this stuff, some of them genuinely have got so much going on. You got to go. You need help. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It genuinely does. And I think a lot of people that spin the perspective that get rid of it, they're speaking for a voice that they don't really understand what they're talking about. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But then there are those that come over here just to exploit the benefit system and do all the rest of the stuff that we don't. You know what I mean? They're here to take the mickey. Like, do you know what I mean?
Some Egyptian lads had more iPhones than I did on that. They had about 3 phones, and I was like, "Bloody hell, mate! What do you do? I have a job."
They're cracking all sorts of details.
But then there was some families there, and we were going out, giving them an extra blanket, giving them toast with some jam, and they were crying, thanking us. You know, they were so desperate, and they needed whatever we were going to give them.
Not nice to see, is it? Not nice to see.
So that was a really good trip, and that was a final really good trip, rewarding and everything. But I wanted to go and do something else, so I volunteered to leave. I left. Trained over here, and then moved over to Sydney to Bondi Beach and lived there for 2 years.
What was that like?
The best place on earth, mate. If I could stay there forever, honestly.
Really?
It is the best country.
Because you're in good nick now. You're in good nick there, so you were sort of like strutting down, flexing.
Well, I thought I was going there for a 2-year fitness thing of like beach sprints and swimming and this and that, and it just blurred into one big rugby party, basically.
Really? So you just
it was
played rugby?
It was quality. Yeah, I played there, and everyone. You know, you've made 100 friends in like 2 weeks, and you can't avoid it. You know.
Did you have a job as well? Did you work?
Yeah.
What kind of work?
I was contracting doing telecoms, and I was driving to the outback, driving here, driving there, all over the place.
Awesome.
You got paid to travel, and no Aussies wanted to go and travel to the outback because why would they? But I was like, I haven't seen that. I'll go. Yeah. Why not?
Show me a kangaroo.
Yeah, slept in my van and just sort of cracked on. It was cool. Yeah. Made some really good friends there. My now wife, actually. So yeah nice. It was really good, and I met a friend at the rugby club there called Scott, and Scott was a former paratrooper. And when I'd emailed a couple of local rugby clubs saying I've played for the Marines, you know, and I'm looking to sort of come down, and a few of them were like, we don't want English lads here, you know, there's none of that. But they went, come on down. We've got a paratrooper lad here. You two can hit it off. And I was like, oh, who's this lad going to be? You know, this proper Cockney lad comes over. Are you Dave? Are you the bootneck? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm Scott, you know, and all this. And we ended up being best mates, you know, like really good
awesome.
Banter.
Yeah.
Little small lad, and, you know, stocky and everything. And really
same mindset, though, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly. We go to like nights out and drinks. And, you know, when you just get talking like, sort of like you do, and you're like, no one else would understand a word we're saying.
Yeah,
right now.
Spoofing for everything.
But I've been over there 2 years. It was my time to come home. Me and my wife came home, and you know, I could go into that trip a lot. But the main thing, me and Scott on a night out once, we were speaking about how we'd both struggled with mental health and everything like that. Yeah. And it was both. Well, he a lot more said like, I haven't told many people that. Don't tell anyone that. You know, type thing. And I was like, well, if you ever struggle, you ring me, and like vice versa. You know. Yeah. gosh, and all that stuff. And so when I got home, I'd heard that he'd broken up with his long-term girlfriend, who was like friends with us and everything like that. And I was worried because I thought, I know where he's been at previously, but he asked me not to tell anyone. And the lads have said, look, he has broke up with her, but don't like reach out. He's trying to block it out. Don't say anything type thing. And I'm like, I should say something here, really, but at the same time, I know what it's like. You don't want people messaging you, oh God, I've heard. You don't.
Yeah.
So I left it, and I was worried about it. And me and my missus had taken a month off to do up our house. And on the first morning, I woke up and I had like 17 missed calls from Oz, and I was like, I know exactly what's happened here. And Scott had killed himself. Yeah, and it was...
That's horrendous.
It was, and I fully, like, not blame myself completely. When someone's like that, they are going to do it. And I've done...
No, you can't. You're right there. Once that person's made their mind up that they're going to... Sometimes they even go into a state where they're actually quite relaxed because they go, well, my mind's made up and that's what I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean? And I've come across it far too much.
I'd got feedback from lads that's exactly how he was by the end.
Yeah.
Quite.
Yeah. So he would have been, yeah. A friend of mine did it years ago, and he actually gave me a little button compass that his old man had been a Marine and he used to keep in his cap badge. And he said, I'll never need that, Phil. He said, and I just thought it was because I was going on selection, and that wasn't. That was him going, I'm already done. And it breaks me, honestly. I don't even like to say the word. I call it the S word. It's horrendous.
It's not nice.
No.
And you know what's crazy about it is, at that rugby club, so here you have like a first team and a second team.
Yeah.
Out there you have a first team, second team, third team, fourth team, fifth team, sixth team, a Colts team, a piss-up team, a this team.
Veterans team.
There's about 200 of you. And he was genuinely probably the most popular bloke there. Everyone loved him. He was club president. He was setting up all these things to bring English lads over to come play.
Yeah.
On a Thursday night after training, and this got found out afterwards, a lad on the fifth team would say, mate, my passing's bad. He'd stay with him for an hour. And he was like a first team player. He'd stay with this random lad. He didn't know. He'd pass for an hour and then ring him on a Friday night. How's passing going, mate? Had time for everyone. A very popular guy. Yeah. And sadly took his own life. And because I'd come back to England, and I was missing everyone out there anyway. And I was like, I'm the only person here. I can't ring anyone. I can't speak to them. They're all there. Big time difference. And it just sent me exactly back where I was previously, but worse, like a lot worse. And I was ready to do something bad. My head had gone completely sideways. I was drinking it every single night. We did a Just Giving page to get his family over because it was during COVID, and it was to try and get them flights to get over there for the funeral. And I woke up and I'd just sent loads to it, drunk. I didn't even know I'd done it. And I was just like, because I felt guilty. I felt like I needed to do something to help. And I was speaking to friends there. I've done therapy since and all that on it. I know it's no one's fault when someone's made their mind up. That's it. But I just felt it in me. I felt bad, and I felt like I want to do something to help, because they did like a massive funeral there, which was I got to watch it live, and all of the Kiwi lads did a massive haka when he came out. About 20 lads in the streets, and all of the old like paratroopers that were out there went. His boss from Afghan went. A military motorbike gang did a sort of guard of honour. They did everything, and there was 200 people on the rugby pitch at night in a circle, arms round, and like singing songs. It's all video. It was unbelievable. But I was like, I'm not there. I'm at home. I'm a spare part. I'm not doing anything. I just feel useless. And I was drunk one night. All the best ideas come when you're drunk. And the past few days, I'd been bad. I'd been driving home from work. I'd been like crying driving to work, crying driving home, crying at night, drinking, doing whatever. Driving home from work, driving fast, closing my eyes and just driving and just seeing what happened, and then just like stopping. I'd been doing it loads. And I was like, I was scrolling Facebook drunk, and I saw some of his friends from home, from his local rugby club, were doing a charity thing for Rock to Recovery to try and raise a bit in Scott's name. Yeah. And being the lads that they were like, let's run a 43 miler. That'll be a laugh, Yeah. And we'll start at Merville Barracks, where he did his training. Yeah. With a rugby ball, and we'll run it to Old Cooperians Rugby Club, around West Ham type way, for his charity game, the Scott Sarson Cup, and we'll deliver the match ball, and they'll kick off, and that's it, type thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, shiters at this point, and I'm out of shape then, really bad. I'd just been drinking. I was like, sign me up, done, sweet. And then next day, like, oh my God, that's quite far.
Yeah.
And I've never felt more compelled to, as you'll know, you know when you've got a decent reason to go and train and to go in, never felt like I had to go out and train more, ever. I was like, I'm out training, it was snowing. I was waking up at 3, going for 20 milers, and then going to work and doing all sorts to get fit. Because I was like, they were all like, oh, we've got a Royal Marine doing it with us, because they were like Civvy lads. And I was like, oh God, I've got a lot on my shoulders here. I'm meant to be setting the example. Like, And I didn't want to just scrape it. I wanted to do it justice.
You were absolutely burst through over your chest. Yeah.
So I'd gone training hard, ran 3 or 4 marathons in a month in like the sort of build up to it, just like my own ones, not events, just like doing my own ones to know I could do it. I didn't care about the time, but I just wanted to finish. And we're raising money for Rock along the way, and we raised over 20 grand, and it was the most he'd ever had raised in one single event, and like that shows who Scott was. People wouldn't stop donating. Like it was just all for him. And we did this the night before the run, so I've gone and I've had a full-on spa day, cryo chamber day, and I've stretched, I'm good, and I'm fed, and I'm like, I am ready to go now. This was like December the 18th.
Yeah.
I'm going to be travelling down there the next morning to London, and then doing the run for the last game before Christmas, and then coming home. I'm thinking, right, I'm done. I cannot train no more. This is happening. And I come outside the spa to loads of texts. It's off. I'm like, why? And they said the RFU have cancelled all of the last games before Christmas because they don't want COVID to spread. And the reason everyone's Christmas gets ruined, they can't see the grandparents for the last time, is because of COVID, which is the right thing. I genuinely think, the way it was spreading, if rugby ruined Christmas, that would have been it, wouldn't it? So all matches were cancelled. So I'm like, I'm doing this run tomorrow. I don't care how, but I am doing it. So my missus drove me from our house 43 miles round the lanes to our local pub, and I'm sat there with the maps going, turn left here, turn right here, turn left here. I'm trying to remember it as well, like, probably trying to write it down. And I'm like, right, tomorrow 6 a.m, that's it, I'm off. And I'll just start it. And it finishes at our pub, and I'll have a beer after, and that's it, done. I put to bed, and I don't have to run anymore. And my ankle's still broke from this old injury. I've had surgery on it now, but it was ruined. Like, so I'm like, I'm in pain here. So next morning ran, and my missus had got a few friends and family to meet me at certain mile points and to like run with me and everything like this. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to be like, oh God, this hurts. I wanted to show that cheerfulness in the face of
adversity.
Adversity, and try and laugh the way around it, everything like that. When it was hurting, there was a couple of times where I was like, this isn't good, this. Like, you better be worth this. Finished it at my local pub, like, I sort of got round, had a few beers, FaceTimed his like friends, FaceTimed his dad, which was nice. And then closed the book on that chapter. And like, people speak about grief and how to deal with grief.
Yeah.
And I think, you mentioned Scott's name to a few people, and they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it because I've ended that on a good thing. And I think anyone struggling with grief,
you pulled a positive out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
What you've done, do you know what I mean? So, and I think that's my message to people all the time, is there's always a positive to be had from a negative. Always. There's always one in there somewhere, do you know what I mean? Wherever your chest is going up and down, you'll find a positive somewhere, do you know what I mean? I always find that.
If you look hard enough for it, my grandma's passed away. Well, she isn't struggling no more. There's always
there's always something. There's always something. I'm saying, and I've been that low I could get under a snake's belly with a top hat on. Do you know what I mean? I really could. Do you know what I'm saying? But I can always drag something out. So, in your sort of like work life now, you've come through all this stuff. But what do you do? I want you to talk about what you're doing now, because I find what you're doing now phenomenal. I really do. I think it's a great. I think it's a hoofing thing that you're doing, right? A hoofing thing that you're doing, right? Because I'm all about teeing up young people to find careers that help them, and I think what you're doing is great. So can we talk a little bit about Civvy to Commando?
Of course. So it all timed quite nicely, because after I finished that, I felt motivated. I felt absolutely motivated to do something, to run further. not that day. I was done. But
having a beer.
To run further, to do something, to make my own business, to do something, everything that I'd put off for ages, I was like, I'm going to do it now. I can do stuff that I didn't think that I could, so I am going to do. I am going to do something. And I was listening to audiobooks and podcasts about how to make your own business. And it was like, what do you know that not many other people do? Because I was thinking about bringing out clothing, doing this, doing that. And I was like, I don't know it. I don't know anything about it, And they were like, what do you know that not many people do? And I was like, 6,000 Marines in the UK, 60 million people, give or take. That literally is 0.01% or whatever the maths is.
Yeah.
As I said, pretty solid. So.
Let's not go there. Cycle efficiency.
Exactly. And I've thought, God, that is a niche.
Yeah.
How can I turn that into a business? And I was sat, I had a one-to-one coach then, someone that was like sending me training programs, and I was doing it for my own like training. I was reading this training program and I was like, I don't know what I can do. And I was like, oh my God, it's here. I was like, I can make a Marines training program.
Epiphany.
Yeah. I was like, bang. Yeah, it's there. So I thought I can make a training program to prepare people for the Royal Marines, and I can get people physically fit. I can give them insight. I can give them mental challenges. I can share my experiences with them. And essentially, because I prepared wrong 100%. And when I look back, I was like, there's so many things I could have done better here. Yeah. So many things.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know it back then. And I was like, I could pass that on to people and then be their sort of mentor going through. And, because when I was joining up, I was looking for Marines on Facebook. I was just trying to find one and be like, how many pairs of socks do I need to take? How many of this? How many of that? Just
I get a lot of that. I get a lot of messages from people because of my profile that exactly that. Young people go, what boot polish?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tell me everything you know. And they were all like, block, go away. And I was going up to them in like my local gym. Hiya, mate, I've got loads of questions. And some would be nice, but they were like, go away. And I was like, I'll be that person. I'll answer questions. I'll do whatever. So I started that Civvy to Commando about 1.5 years ago. And I started making training programs. I didn't imagine it'd grow to how it has. But as people started doing it and people started passing training and the main thing for me, anyone can get fit, but it's the confidence. So I'd have people come to me and they were really shy, really nervous. And by the end, they're like, right, I am ready to present this week's mental challenge, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's the one that's ready. He was...
Yeah. Do you think this is a sort of like a spin-off from your own journey, really, isn't it? Because you were that one who wasn't confident.
100%.
And you were the one who learned to be confident. By the end of your training, you're laughing at how you were almost.
I probably didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I can see it. That's
in the modern day as well. Yeah. I'm not trying to sound old, but a lot of people are...
You're making me feel like
Sorry, Phil. I won't do it. But today, then, a lot of people are nervous, are socially anxious.
I think they are, and I think it's because we live in an age where everything's in a screen, everything's people can contact you 24/7 and all that sort of stuff, and it does make people anxious. There must be people out there now. Kids are in. Oh, my phone. Oh, what's? Don't want to look at Facebook. It must breed a lot of that,
And I think like how nervous I was back then, but if it was nowadays, going up to a corporal and being like, corporal, I am, and all of that fear, and I wanted to make it a training program, but also like a very military. From start to finish, you've got to be 5 minutes early. You've got to do this. Your water bottle's got to be full. You've got to blah, 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 blah. And teach people all these little things. So when they go down, they already know it. They already know that, like, what the cadets taught me, basically, in a training program, and train them to get fit. I still speak to people now that have passed training. I still speak to them when they're in training.
Yeah.
And then from there, natural progression. We've done weekend camps. I moved into doing like corporate things recently. I've done public speaking, which for someone with a stutter is just ridiculous. I feel like I'm scamming people.
You're doing a podcast.
I know. I never would have thought I'd be on a radio.
You mumbled, I'd have thrown you out.
Yeah. And I really like it. And I get so much reward from that.
Yeah.
For younger me to look and go, I'm literally speaking here. And
but not only that, you are now a shining example as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's a powerful thing. You are that person that people will look at who were perhaps in the situation you were in.
Yeah, I had a lad who I've coached and who has come to one of our weekend camps. Lovely lad who had a really bad stammer, really bad stammer. That's how he found me.
Yeah.
And I said, right, you're not allowed to message me. You have to voice note me now. No more messages. You have to voice note every single time. Because that helped me. Just voice noting people. It's like getting reps in. Just speak. It is. And he was voice noting me. Yeah. A 60-second voice note, and he said about two or three words, and I would listen to all of them. And I was like, right, try this. And it's been it must be 9 months now. And he came to the weekend camp, and I thought, right, I'm going to get everyone to stand up and say the name, say this, say that. And I could see, like worst nightmare thing for someone like that. He stood up, said everything, didn't stammer once, and he finished it with, and I have a stammer. And I was like, you didn't stammer once then. You didn't stammer once at all. And he bought me this bottle of whiskey, and it was Civvy to Commando 64 whiskey. 2 Mumbles from Mumbles 2.0. Thank you for giving me my voice back.
Mumbles Junior.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me my voice back. And we've done work on his speech and everything like that. And I was like, right, you're going to make me cry, go away.
I mean, how proud of you that?
Honestly.
Yeah, of course you're proud of that. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that for you. I'm telling you, genuinely.
It's not just training. It's bringing people in different directions and bringing him on at the weekend camp. He's to watch this and go, oh, mate, don't tell everyone, but right, you stand out front, you speak to everyone, go, that's it. And that's what happened to me. And, that's what helped.
Yeah.
And he said that helped. And, things like that. He even brought people on camps who aren't fit, who've come last in everything.
Yeah.
And we're like, go on, quit. To try and make them say, no, I'm not going to quit. And they keep on going.
Yeah.
And by the end, you see them click and go, I can do this. If I'm stubborn enough and if I keep on trying. Yeah. And they come up and say, that's just made me want to do so much more now. And they send me messages. I've just joined the army. I've just started cycling. I've just started running. And it's not all about the people that want to join the military.
Yeah, I do get that, because people need to progress in the life that they want to do, don't they? And that is definitely 100% helping, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels good, mate.
I bet it does. It's like philanthropy. You're putting back in, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're taking out. What's your future plans? Just quickly, because we're going to have to wrap this up soon. But what's your future plans?
That's my start. It's making this drag on, isn't it? Yeah, we've had to do about 10 deleted scenes.
10-minute interviews taking us 2 hours.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry. Yeah. Editor's having a nightmare here.
He's up there. How many times am I going to have to cut this?
Leave it in.
If I cut your head there and your stammer finishes here, the whole thing's going to be like this, isn't it?
Fast. Yeah. For the future, more camps, but I want to target everyone. I want kids ones. I want people joining the military. I want people who are older and just want to come and have a go at something.
You know what? That's such a great shout, because I got completely out of shape, as you know, and I had to almost reinvent myself. Now, I did it through boxing.
Yeah.
I realised that I wanted to fight. My first fight was at 45 years old. I'm now 55 and I'm still fighting. I've got another one next year.
And you live for boxing.
Yeah, I love it now. Do you know what I mean? But I had to reinvent myself, realising I've got a lot of work to do here, but seeing everyone else is doing it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put me on that mindset, I want to get back and do this, do you know what I mean?
And that's where it helps, because I think sometimes if people are training by themselves, they can go, oh no. But when you're thrashing them harder than they've been thrashed, and other people are still going, they're like, well, I don't want to quit. I don't want to be that person. No. It makes them work harder. I want to do more of that for everyone, all different sort of, types of people. But I mainly want to go in the corporate route. I want to go speak into companies. I want to do corporate experiences, team building, corporate coaching, everything like that. I want to move in every sort of direction that I can and just help build my confidence up with it, I suppose, because it feels good.
I genuinely think you're doing a tremendous job. I think you're a tremendous person. I consider you as a friend. I genuinely do. All right. I'd love to do more with you in the future. I'd love to come and visit you. I'd love to Force Radio perhaps come down and, do a couple of bits and pieces, promote, help, and just, see what you're doing in general. Do you know what I mean?
Let's do it, mate.
Because I think it's cool. I'd love you to come back on here again. Maybe you can do some stuff and talk for us at some stage. I don't know. But there's fun to be had.
Let's have it.
There's definitely fun to be had.
Mate. I
All right,
appreciate
buddy.
that.
Cheers,
really
buddy.
appreciate it. Thank
Superb.
you.